We've all seen social media posts where people will tell you how to think and how to act and how to live. They insist that theirs is the best way to apply makeup, to cook a potato, what product to buy, who to vote for, etc. I don't do that. When I give online advice, like my preference for a certain type of compass or how you should interpret features on a map, it's based on the terrain and the conditions which I tend to operate in. It's an honest opinion. It's not a rule. It's not a universal law. You're free to have your own opinions, make your own decisions. So, in the same spirit, here's my latest suggestion, which again, feel free to disagree with. That's up to you. And this is it. Drum roll, please. Occasionally, when you have the opportunity, you should just stop. That's it. I don't mean stop one task and start the next. I mean, stop doing anything that society defines as productive. Just stop and look around. Stare into the distance. Wherever you are, there is always something interesting just waiting to be noticed. But if you're too busy making sure that every minute is productive, that moment's gone. And that's what I'm doing at the moment. Nothing. Okay, I am doing something. I'm strolling around as I literally have nothing else to do at the moment. This morning, I started with a group of guys on an introduction to navigation course. They all work for the same large financial company. A few weeks ago, I spoke to the organizer and we agreed that we'd cover the basics in the morning and then spend the afternoon practicing, ironing out any problems, building a bit of confidence. The idea was simple, that by the end of the day, the group will be able to use a map to navigate safely and confidently around tracks and lanes. What I didn't know was that the organizer had always planned for the group to head back to their office before lunch for meetings in the afternoon. One of the group explained it to me. He said, "The boss can't see the point of practice. Once you've been shown how to do something, you've got what you paid for." Sitting around in the hills, as he put it, staring into the distance, and then just wandering about would be a waste of time. Fair enough. Maybe that's how things are done now, who knows. But I do wonder, when did practice become optional? When did time spent consolidating a new skill become indulgent? I was a ski instructor during the winter for 30 years, and I did other things in the summer. I worked in France, Austria, but mainly Italy. Ciao, sono Wayne della Scuola Sci Folgorida. Hi, I'm Wayne from the Folgorida Ski School. Oggi è 2 marzo. Today is the 2nd of March. Ma oggi è una buona giornata. La previsione per la prossima settimana è la stessa, fino a venerdì. Allora forse vediamo vento e neve, molto freddo. Ma 2 settimane, speriamo. Until Nigel Farage put a stop to that. We don't want to allow British people to work in Europe. Why not? Let's not go there. Let's just not go there. Anyway, we were taught that there were 6 stages to learning a skill. I think the technical name for it is cognitive load and competence matrix. Yeah, I know, big words for something simple. But most people just call it the 6 stages of learning. This can get very, very complicated if you want it to. But I'm not very intelligent, so I tend to simplify it. And I just call it the 6 stages of how you learn a skill. Number 1, never heard of it. Number 2, I know what it is, but I can't do it. Number 3, I can do it, but I keep making mistakes. Number 4, I can do it, but only if I really focus. Number 5, I can do it without thinking. And number 6, I can do it so well that I can teach others how to do it. But by leaving the course before lunch, the group has been left at stage 2. Remember, I know what it is, but I can't do it. I'm not sure that's what they paid for. It's a bit like saying a pilot who's read the manual is ready to fly a plane. But what I was most interested in was the statement that sitting around in the hills, staring into the distance, was something considered to be, how can I put it, an exercise in futility. I'm a land navigation instructor, and for the vast majority of people, that's as far as my involvement goes. So it's not for me to tell anyone how they should act, once they're not on a training course. But I can't help thinking that maybe, just maybe, we've lost something along the way. I'll give you an example. I'm on the eastern slopes of No Fell, and there's wind blowing, and it's just starting to rain. There's a few sheep in the distance, not very much else. Nothing's happening around here. And I think this is a really excellent place just to wander around and maybe just stare into the distance. Let's face it, I've got nothing else to do now the group has left. But the good thing is, I'm still being paid for this afternoon. As I said, if you just take time to look, you'll always see something. And now I'm looking around for something to show you. Oh, this will do. Here we go. I really should start planning these videos, shouldn't I? Before I start talking. Can you see this? What do you think this is? It's grass. Inside this blade of grass, there are some cells that act like mini solar panels, and they capture sunlight to split water molecules. This creates a burst of energy which is used to pull carbon dioxide from the air and rearrange it into glucose, which is a high energy sugar plant that plants use to grow. And then it releases oxygen as a leftover. So because of this blade of grass and lots of other blades of grass and leaves, you and I can breathe. So this blade of grass is the source of all human life on Earth. Yeah, there's always something. I mean, obviously it's up to you, but I would suggest when you have the chance, just stop, look around and see what there is to see. There was a Welsh poet, what was his name? William Henry Davies, who wrote a famous poem called Leisure. It's only a short poem, but I think it captures the idea that a life lived purely for efficiency is a bit hollow, and how poor a life would be if we didn't take time to pause long enough to stop and look around. I'm actually trying to think how the whole thing went. It's been a long time since my English literature classes at school. Hang on a minute. I'll give it a go. What is this life if, full of care, we have no time to stand and stare? No time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep or cows. No time to see when woods we pass, where squirrels hide their nuts in grass. No time to see in broad daylight streams full of stars like skies at night. No time to turn at beauty's glance and watch her feet how they can dance. No time to wait till her mouth can enrich the smile her eyes began. A poor life this, if full of care, we have no time to stand and stare. I think I'll just stay here and stare into the distance for a while. So my advice is, when you have the opportunity, you should do the same. Thanks for watching.